We have a full crowd today. I guess if you just have a couple meetings a session, everybody wants to show up to make sure all the good work we're doing. So I'll have the secretary call the roll, but first I do want to tell everybody there is an overflow room, Annex 169 here down the hallway if there's folks that's outside that would like to be able to listen or watch what we're doing. So I want to say that, but I'll have the secretary please call the roll.
Senator Rocky Adams, Senator Douglas,
Present.
Senator Howell, Senator Neal, Senator Schickel, Senator Smith, Senator Storm,
Here.
Senator Turner, Senator Yates,
Present.
Vice Chair Girdler,
Present.
Chairman Carpenter.
Here. We have a quorum. We're ready to do business. So first off, though, I would like to recognize a group that's here from my district, from the Berea Community Independent School. They're here today doing some stuff along with at the Capitol and watching what we do here. I live in Berea, went to Madison Southern, but had plenty of friends that went to Berea Community School, so we appreciate you all coming. I know their superintendent, Diane Hatchett, is here. She's fairly new, but we appreciate Diane. I see you back there. Appreciate what you're doing with the school there, and I like for everybody in this room to make these folks feel welcomed. Our first bill will be House Bill 88. Chairman Meredith, if you'll come to the table. Bring any guests that you think you would like to have with you, Chairman. And we appreciate you coming, and we'll let you introduce your guests for the record and get started. Now, Chairman, you've got lots of backup here. I'm starting to worry.
When you can't carry it yourself, bring people to carry it for you.
Smart man. Please start.
Representative Michael Meredith, representing the 19th House District.
Tim Shank, Kentucky Bankers Association.
Christy Carpenter, Bluegrass Banking Association and Springfield State Bank.
Gary Atkins, president of AARP Kentucky, out of Madison County.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, I'll be very brief in my comments and then let the experts talk a little more. But the bill has really three components to it. The first is we know there are a lot of unregulated or differently regulated entities out there today that are operating and doing similar things that banks are doing. So the first section of the bill just makes sure that they can't call themselves a bank and provides penalties for that if they're not an actual state or federally chartered bank. The second section of the bill deals with deceptive and false advertising. If you have gone out and procured a mortgage anytime recently, or anybody you know has, they have gotten plenty of solicitations afterwards. Generally, those solicitations have the bank's name on them, and they lead you to believe that that information is coming from the bank. They are not, in most cases, coming from the bank. And so they are trying to build trust using your bank's name. This provides penalties for them doing that and keeps them from doing that as well. And then Section 3 deals with real estate brokerage issues and makes sure that you can't have someone sign a 40-year listing contract on a real estate listing and make sure that they cannot file a lien using that real estate listing again, and makes that retroactive as well. That's the basics of the bill, and then I'll turn it over to the experts to talk a little more about it.
Real quick, Representative Meredith, we did have a Senate committee substitute for this bill, which is it's a technical correction. If I have a motion and a second, all those in favor signify by saying aye. We're adopted, so go ahead.
And that technical correction, I think, just changed the word banking to bank.
Correct.
It was a real quick fix there. So, Christy, if you want to go next.
Well, I'm Christy Carpenter. I work at Springfield State Bank. And, you know, at the forefront every day when I show up for work, one of my priorities is to protect our most valuable asset, and that's customer information. And every bank has to adopt a privacy policy. If we are going to share or sell our customer information, we have to let them know, but we do not. We do not sell that information. We do not share it with anybody. We have a lot of layers of protection in place to prevent that. We spend a lot of money to make sure that happens. And it's very off-putting for me when I have a customer that comes in, and it'll be 2 or 3 times a week with these notices that say your Springfield State Bank mortgage of $250,000, you are required to have an extended warranty on your home. And then in small print at the bottom, we are not Springfield State Bank. And so, they can either endorse the check that's attached, and then they are automatically enrolled, or they go online and enroll, and it's all a scam typically. And but it looks like to the customer that we have shared their information. And we'd just like for other entities to have to go by the same regulations that we do in protecting our customers, and that they can't pretend to be our bank.
Yeah, it's a deceptive practice. We've all seen it, and we get those calls from folks here, and even our family members that say, "Hey, I've got this," and you realize it's a scam because after you read the fine print, you don't want to do that. So,
Tim's our legal expert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you, Representative Meredith. I don't have a whole lot to add other than personal experience. I haven't purchased a home in the last 6 years. I still get these cards in the mail. As an attorney, I find them confusing, and I think this law will make a big difference, particularly for our more seasoned customers. As we continue to fight fraud in the state on various different fronts, I think this is just one area where we can really improve by virtue of this statute.
I think Gary's going to address the consumer side.
Good morning, Chairman Carpenter and members of the Senate Banking Insurance Committee. My name's Gary Adkins. I'm the volunteer state president for AARP Kentucky. We're offering our support for passage of House Bill 88 relating to the prohibition of unfair service agreements. Several real estate companies have been using a predatory business model to target seniors and financially insecure home owners. These companies cold call people, even those on the do not call registry. They provide cash payments, typically less than $1,000, to homeowners in exchange for agreeing to utilize that company's services to list their property at any time in the next 40 years. The property owners agree by signing a contract which includes a memorandum that's filed with the county as a lien on the property's title. The contract purports to be binding on current homeowners and property heirs, and the lien complicates the homeowner's ability to refinance, access home equity, or transfer their property. Property owners can terminate the agreements early, but they must pay a penalty equal to 3% of the market value of the property, or the commission the company would have earned for listing that property. The company gets to determine the home's value pursuant to the contract. AARP Kentucky, on behalf of 430,000 members, desires to underscore that many Kentuckians, their home is the most important asset and the cornerstone of their financial ability. They rely upon federal, state, and local policymakers to safeguard them against fraud, deception, and unfair practices. Straightforward business practices, marketing materials, and contracts empower consumers to understand both the benefit and risk of products and services.
Second.
Gary, you've got that good voice we all wish we had, but we have a motion on the bill, so we always like to move on if we can.
Sounds good to me.
Yes, sir. We appreciate y'all's testimony. And, the real estate side of it is a very important part of this legislation because that's super deceptive. People are signing things they don't realize, and they go to want to sell their house, and all of a sudden they find out they have it pre-listed. So we appreciate the folks that brought us that issue before us. And we have a motion and a second. I'll have the ask this. Oh, did you have a question, Senator Neal? Yes, sir. I'll ask the secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Rocky Adams. Senator Douglas.
Aye.
Senator Girdler. Senator Howell.
Explain my vote.
Please.
I'm going to vote aye. Thank you, Representative Meredith, for addressing some of my questions. I still have some questions, but they're rabbit hole issues. I'm not going to take up committee's time on here, but I would like for us to get together and address some of the clarifications I have. I appreciate your work on this bill.
Thanks.
Senator Neal. Senator Schickel. Senator Smith. Senator Storm.
Aye.
Senator Turner.
Explain my vote.
Yes.
I also would like to thank Representative for bringing this bill, and especially having the retroactivity in it, and I'm going to try to ensure that stays in there throughout the rest of the process. I'll look forward to working to make sure these provisions apply. I'm one of those senior citizens. Thank you.
Was that a yes?
You have to vote. Senator, you have to vote. Okay. They said he didn't, so I'm just clarifying. Thank you.
Senator Yates.
Aye.
Chairman Carpenter.
Aye. The bill passes favorably expression as amended by Senate Committee Senate Committee amendment. We appreciate you bringing the bill forward, and we'll move the process on.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee.
Thanks, sir. House Bill 179 is an act relating to the insurance for loss of income and declaring an emergency. Representative Heavern, if you're here, I always appreciate. I think this is your first time in front of this committee, Representative. We appreciate you coming. Please introduce your guest. Not sure who she is, and we'll let you all get started.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'm State Representative Samara Heavern. I represent the 18th District. We also have someone on Zoom for, is it Elizabeth? Yeah, Sarah. Okay, awesome. If they will introduce themselves, just for the record, Sarah and Larley, that would be great. And then I will let my counterpart introduce herself for the record.
Thank you. I'm Larley Latta, Regional Vice President with the American Council of Life Insurers.
Thank you.
My name is Sarah Montgomery. I am an Assistant Vice President for PFML implementation at the American Council of Life Insurers.
Thank you, Kate.
And I'm Kate Shanks, Senior Vice President of Public Affairs for the Kentucky Chamber.
Thank you, ladies. Appreciate you all being here. Representative, you'll get started.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman and members of the Banking and Insurance Committee, I appreciate you all allowing me to come present to you this afternoon House Bill 179, NCOIL model legislation on voluntary paid family leave insurance. I began conversations on paid family leave with a bipartisan group of Kentucky stakeholders in December of 2021. The biggest questions were what we can come up with that helps strengthen Kentucky families, doesn't hurt Kentucky small businesses, and can pass the Kentucky General Assembly. We looked at what variables we needed to consider: type of leave, qualifying events, eligible workers, what's the definition of a family, funding mechanism, administration, wage replacement rate, duration of leave, and exceptions to those. House Bill 179 is the first piece in the puzzle. Voluntary paid family leave insurance is an insurance product that employers may voluntarily purchase to provide paid family leave benefits to their employees. This is a market-driven policy proposal that includes no mandates. Let me reemphasize that, no mandates to employers, workers, or their families. Paid family leave insurance would provide a temporary wage replacement for workers who need to take leave to provide care for a sick family member, bond with a child after the child's birth, adoption, or placement for foster care, or care for a family member in the military or first responder who's injured in the line of duty, or other reasons as outlined in the employer's plan. Legislation is needed to authorize the sale of paid family leave insurance. Insurers can only offer products that the Department of Insurance is allowed by statute to authorize. Therefore, state law needs to be amended in order to clarify the ability of the department to authorize this insurance product in Kentucky. At least 6 states have already passed this model legislation or promulgated regulations to authorize model paid family leave insurance under a model endorsed by a bipartisan National Council of Insurance Legislators. These states include Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Tennessee, Texas, and Virginia. Other states such as Georgia, Indiana, Ohio, and South Carolina are also considering this NCOIL model legislation. Let me be clear, Mr. Chairman, this legislation will not be enough for everyone, but in my humble opinion, it's more important to pass good policy rather than to completely deprive Kentucky families for the opportunity of any type of paid family leave insurance. This should not be a new concept for members of the Kentucky General Assembly. Last fall, the Kentucky Chamber and the ACLI presented in Families and Children Committee where we discussed this NCOIL model legislation. We truly believe that this is a first great step for Kentucky. And I will let my counterpart speak here.
Thank you. And we are thrilled to be here, Chairman, members of the committee, in support of this legislation. We know this is an important issue for our employers. It's also an important issue for workers and working families. So this is very much a pro-working family bill. We like the fact that this is helpful for employees that need to take time off to care for family members and loved ones. And it's also helpful for employers, for businesses that want to redesign or add to their benefit packages. Their benefit packages are becoming more and more important for recruiting new employees, retaining employees. And this is one way that they can do that. And it's a very flexible way that they can do that. And this is certainly a more preferred approach to managing paid family leave and supporting working families than an across-the-board mandate on businesses, which can be difficult for certain businesses to implement. So we like the flexibility of it. We like the fact that it is pro-working family and pro-employer. And we're very pleased to be here today in support of this legislation and very much urge your support for it.
Motion. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Representative, you got any more comments you'd like to make or
Mr. Chairman, I know when to stop talking.
I thought you would. Senator Girdler does have a question or comment.
I want to reiterate that we are not mandating this, because we have some people that's emailed us and called about it and was worried about it. I think there's another bill out there that's got a 20-day for teachers, and so it's kind of getting a little bit together. But this is just an insurance product that you're going to add to a group policy that says you can buy this on top of your health insurance or anything like that. So I know it's a great product, great thing. I just want to make sure everybody out there knows that we're not telling the employer they have to buy this, or this is just a product they're going to buy. So just making sure.
Yes, Senator. There is no mandate to this legislation. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Howell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You talked some about how maybe it's not everything for everybody, and you mentioned it was a good first step. Where do we go from here? What's our next step?
That will be up to the future General Assembly, Senator Howe. I think starting the conversation is really important with everything going on in the United States right now. I think as we're working towards to continue being the most pro-family Commonwealth, what does that look like? And so I think that once we're able to start this paid family leave insurance, we're going to see how many companies use it and how beneficial it is. And so it would be something that the General Assembly could continue to look at and see if they need to make more measures to be helpful to continue those conversations. As we know, research shows that the more time that parents can spend with their child, and I'll be honest, Senator Howe, I got into this more for maternity and paternity leave, but I think that this is a better product than whatever I could have imagined. And so we know that studies show that when you can be with family members, it really helps in the beginning stages of life. And so if we're able to do that and we can help with that, I think that our job here is done.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. There's no other questions. We have a motion on the bill already, don't we? All right. We'll have the Secretary please call the roll.
Senator Rocky Adams. Aye. Senator Douglas.
Aye.
Senator Girdler. Aye. Senator Howell. Aye. Senator Neal. Aye. Senator Schickel. Aye. Senator Smith. Aye. Senator Storm. Aye. Senator Turner. Aye. Senator Yates.
Aye.
Chairman Carpenter.
Aye. The bill passes. Thank you for your work. Appreciate you coming down to talk to me about it so I was up to date. And just remember to make sure you tell everybody in the House over there how good the Senate B&I treats everybody over here. So
I sure will. Thank you, Senator Carpenter.
thank you all very much. The next bill is House Bill 220, Representative Neighbors. I think this is the first time that she's presenting from this committee as well. An act relating to step therapy protocols. So I know there's somebody on Zoom if we need them, if they're available, if we need them, but we appreciate that. And I'll ask you to introduce yourself for the record and any guests that you may have, Representative Neighbors.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Amy Neighbors, and I represent the 21st House District, which includes Adair, Cumberland, Metcalfe, and Monroe counties. I will allow my guest to introduce herself now.
Laura Owens, Legislative Agent for the Association of Accessible Medicine.
House Bill 220 makes one change to the 2022 step therapy bill, which was Senate Bill 140. That bill unanimously passed the Senate 35-0 and the House 95-0. Senate Bill 140, which all of you voted on just a couple of years ago, established the type of drugs that could be included in step therapy protocol. Step therapy means that a patient can be required to try a lower cost prescription drug that treats a given condition before stepping up to a similar acting but more expensive drug. House Bill 220 simply adds one additional drug type to the current regulation, biosimilars. Biosimilar products.
Motion on the bill in a second. Already, do you have anything you'd like to add further, or are you ready to move on?
I'm ready to move on.
All right, smart people. Is there any other questions or comments? Senator Douglas has.
Thank you very much, Representative. The question I always have when we talk about biosimilar drugs, are we also talking about drugs that have similar bioavailability and bioequivalence? Because the question I always bring up is we throw out terms, and the important part in the pharmacotherapeutic realm is whether drugs are equivalent, and that includes not only the concentration of the drug or the amount of drug that's delivered to a system, but also whether that drug is delivered in a form that is usable by the body, and we call that bioavailability. So, how have you addressed the bioavailability question, or has that been discussed?
Well, according to the FDA, a biosimilar is a biologic that is highly similar to and has no clinically meaningful differences in the terms of safety, purity, and potency from an existing FDA-approved biologic called a reference.
And Senator, we put the definition in there following the conversation you and I had. There is a definition on page 7, and it cites the United States Code, which is the official codification of that. So that is also in the bill.
If I may, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
The only reason I bring this up is because we can sit in this room and we can understand that, but we have people in the audience and we have people in our auditory and visual media who are listening to this.
Right.
And they want to make sure that we are not using the hoodoo, voodoo kind of things and trying to get them something that is going to grow them an extra ear.
Yeah.
And I just want to make sure that we are clear with that with our public. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. And we appreciate your input throughout the interim on getting that in the bill.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator. Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Rocky Adams. Senator Douglas.
Aye.
Senator Girdler. Senator Howell. Senator Neal. Senator Schickel. Senator Smith. Senator Storm.
Aye.
Senator Turner. Senator Yates.
Aye.
Chairman Carpenter.
Aye. The bill passes with favorable expression. So we appreciate your work here today, and we look forward to moving it on.
Thank you.
Thank you all. This concludes our meeting. So we got through 3 bills rather quickly. We appreciate that. And I appreciate the group coming from Berea, and I'm sure I'll see you guys around. If you want to hang out, I'll be glad to come down and chat with you just a little bit after the meeting. So do I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
We're